We're going to jump ahead to a little bit into the game already where we have this first cash out doubled. We didn't get pushed on the first vault. We didn't have a whole lot of action leading up to this point, so just wanted to cut that part out, just jump into where the action starts. So I'm still new to learning light, still figuring out how to play it and be effective with the class overall. Right now I'm running dash, H plus infuser, gateway, and goo grenades. This has been a good standard overall setup for me. The goo grenades, I don't know if I'll keep long term, but for right now they're providing me a good get out of jail free card, while I'm transitioning away from being a heavy player that can take a ton of damage to a light player that really can't. So as I start taking the damage there from that turret, you notice how I just dash to break away from all sorts of damage to protect myself. This is something I'm getting better at every day that I play the class, but something that you really have to pay attention to when you're playing light is the minute that you start taking any form of damage, you have to disengage, you have to get yourself safe, and you have to find an area where you can either like reposition to take the fight differently or to protect yourself from that further damage. You want to try and rotate around your teammates, not always be directly tied to their hip. You want them to be pulling the attention of the enemy players rather than you pulling the attention of the enemy players. If your teammates have the attention, it lets you roam a little bit more freely, be able to see things from different angles, maybe take flanks on different enemies, and be able to protect your team from different directions that they're not looking at. But mostly, it just helps keep you safe. Positioning matters a whole lot in this game for every class, but for light, it is much more important because it makes or breaks your ability to stay alive and add value to fights. So when I peek into this room and I see the player getting defibbed, I know that I need to back away and get myself to somewhere where I can disengage if I start getting shot. You always want to have an exit plan for when you take damage and know what the next step is for getting back into that fight. Once I see my teammates start taking damage, I know that I can reposition and repeat that room because they're mostly focused on them. Getting that pick, notice how I disengage and start rotating around from a different angle to start supporting my teammates. Continuing to take different approaches and different sight lines into the room allows me to keep the enemy guessing and provides me the most amount of protection as they don't know what way I'm going to come from. With the exception of the turret that, well, you know, auto tracks and I forgot was totally there. So we have this other team that's kind of third partying us. Not really sure why this fight is going on as long as it is because there's no cash out over here. There's no vault over here. This should really not be a fight for teams to care much about. So let's just skip on through it and get to the next part. So my teammates get me revived up and we're going to push out towards the next cash out. Using the portal, we're able to kind of close the distance quickly to this vault number 3, and we're going to start pushing pressure on them. Something to keep in mind, and I'll show it here in just a second, is that this purple team on the scoreboard looks like there's only 2, but it's actually a full stack. It's all 3 players. So here, notice when my teammates have the attention of the enemies, I'm finding different angles to come from so that I can hit them from a side that they're not protected from. And it also keeps me safer from taking damage from that specific team. Always trying to rotate around my team, keeping them close by so I can support them with the H plus infuser, but keeping myself in a safe place. And then notice here when I'm caught out by myself, I just get immediately deleted because of bad positioning. So notice here how I said that there was only, it looks like there's only 2 purple players. You can see that there's actually 3 total, and that threw me and my entire team off right here. So 1, 2, 3, see all 3 of them, even though the scoreboard shows just 2. And then you can actually see it in the social tab, which I'll check here in a second, that there's all 3 players. So just a little bug, but now that we know that purple is a full stack team, we can play it differently. But that was why I got caught out in that situation, was because I was assuming it's just a 2-man stack. Even with it being 2-man, it was still bad positioning. I felt I had a higher probability of being able to dash away if I got into trouble. So when you get your spawn, you kind of want to go to the cash out that has the most time left and is closest to you. In this case, it's re-engaging on the purple team. As you're approaching a cash out, try and keep an eye on where your teammates are going and try and rotate with them and near them. Throwing the portal into the air gives me a rotate option for if I get into danger. I can just put a portal down and have an exit way up in the sky that allows me to get away from whatever fight that I'm in or whatever damage I'm taking. Instead of peeking the hole that, you know, everyone can see and expect, that little crouch spot, I use the explosive barrel to blow open a hole, have a little bit of smoke cover from the explosion, and peek in from that direction. Rotating up to my medium here, just trying to get him healed up. And now trying to see if I can't go get a pickup on the other light teammate that went down. I push in thinking that player's a little bit more low and just get absolutely deleted by this bow. And that bow ends up getting a clutch up and we get wiped by them again. There's a real significant detriment to having one of your teammates go down inside the fight with the full team. Even if they get a trade, you're the team that's the most at risk because you're pushing into a place that you don't have control of. And when you do that, you're taking the risk of being able to get your teammate or get the eliminations and get the cleanups. You really want to try and wait until you get a pick with all 3 of your players before anybody pushes in. So here we're still in a really good spot for this tournament. We're still in first place, but we do really care about trying to get this next plug and having control over the cash out. So we're pushing into 5. It's kind of odd, like it's open and it's sitting here and it doesn't look like there's anybody on it. But it seems like this team might have just pushed away to chase a fight or something like that. So now we're taking the vault to go get it plugged up at B. I hear somebody behind me. You can see it with the throwing knives. This is where that goo grenade that I was talking about earlier really comes in clutch. I can put it down, close off the line of sight, keep myself protected, and let myself reposition to have a better angle on that engagement. Rotating up to the cash out, I want to be as close to it as possible and also get my gateway put up into the sky. You almost always want to try and get your gateway up high into the sky above the cash out you're defending, so you can always have an exit option to rotate into if you get into danger or the cash out starts getting stolen. If I'm like 50 meters away, I can put a teleport down and then immediately be over the top of the cash out if it starts getting stolen, which is really, really good for my team and good for me. Most enemies don't look up, but you can actually glitch those teleporters with glitch grenades. You have to get it to explode in the air, but it's very doable, and it's something you might want to consider looking for and trying if you're a light, playing against other light players with gateways. So here, just trying to keep myself safe and rotate around, potatoing all of my shots, but that's part of playing a new class. Here, dashing out because I'm really, really hurt and in danger, and trying to go for a hero type heal on my buddy. Here I see the DMAT and our cash out go down, so I hide in the DMAT, giving myself a safe place to overwatch the cash out and put shots down on people who are stealing. It's very difficult for them to know where my shots are coming from because you have the full sign, the alpha active sign, and then also the DMAT that kind of covers me up. So it's a really sneaky spot for me to be in. Right now with 20 seconds left, all we care about is making sure that we keep our cash out. And so we're all sitting right here supporting each other, and we're in a close enough distance that if somebody starts to steal, we can jump on it. But we can just also keep watch on the battlefield overall and apply damage to any team that's trying to rotate in, making it much, much harder for them to steal. So all in all, a pretty good round for us. We're all playing technically off classes. Nash usually plays a heavy flamethrower. Manly usually runs light. And I usually run the heavy M60, so we're all still trying to like play into our different builds and figure out how the teamwork works together. So when you come into the second round of a tournament, you want to make sure that you have all the different components that you need to be successful. Look at your reserve, consider how that first round went, and make adjustments accordingly. If you weren't as successful during that first round, you might want to consider swapping out your primary or a gadget when you come into the second round. So on spawn, as per usual, you always want to rotate to the vault that's closest to you. There's no need to overextend off rip. You just want to try and get yourself in the best position for the first cash out and have tempo of the game. Keep in mind, being a light, pushing in first in front of your teammates is usually a risky play. So here I set up a gateway to get the vault portal out. Before I disengage to put the exit up to the portal to get the vault to go through, I want to help my teammates get a couple of the eliminations. That way I feel more confident that they can handle the rest of the team while I run away and get the portal set up. Here I try a super dash portal throw and I just overextend on the 70 meters, so I break my gateway. But don't fear when you do that, like you have the exit sent, so just go backwards and set it up from the reverse way. Just be a little bit safer on the second time, and then you can have your gateway set up, usually by the time the vault's ready to go. So even though I messed up my gateway there on the first try, we still have a really nice portal here to take this vault through. Really, really close to the cash out, get that plugged in, and we can start setting up a defense. The best defense I have is to set up some goo walls before the fight gets started. I like to try and find height. I recommend trying to find height. Having height positions is the best possible defense for your team. The closer you are to the cash out, the better. But height is always a valuable asset to have because you can see so much more of the battlefield, especially as a light player who is like 2 feet tall. Having more height to be able to see higher up is really, really significant. So I see that the orange team is pushing in here, and I'm just going to continue to play safe, keeping myself back behind my medium, waiting to see where I can take picks and then help out and support. Purple dives in, so now we know that this is a third party. We know that there's 2 full stacks here, orange and purple, so it's even more important that I try and stay safe here behind all the cover that we have set up. Healing up my teammates is also super important because I don't want anybody to go down while we're set up here. If we get full scent, it's really easy to kind of clear us off of this place. So it would also then give them the height advantage. So with that riot shield pushing up, it's just dashing away, keeping myself safe, and kind of honestly spray and praying a little bit, but aiming more downwards towards their feet because their feet are the most visible. Even when they're in their guard stance, you can do damage to their feet. So you'll notice that my angling on my shooting tends to angle down for riot shields. With my medium kind of sending out on this orange team, it's just, again, keeping him healed up and making sure that I keep myself in a safe place in case I get blindsided from somewhere. Now we're just looking for the last player on the orange team, figure out where they went, and get that cleaned up. If you have downtime at your cash out, start thinking about looking at the scoreboard, thinking about where you want to rotate to. What's the best next choice for your entire team's success in this tournament? There's not a ton of time left on this cash out, and I just started hearing some random shots below me. So I'm thinking there's an actual team that's like underneath trying to set up a drop and get ready. So you'll notice that I kind of like look around here to try and figure out where those shots are, but it turns out it's just a bug, I guess. There's no team, there's no person, there's nobody here. It's just random shots happening on the map. So that actually kind of gets me separated from my team a bit, which is a little obnoxious, but it made sure that our cash out was safe. And now I can just start rotating to the next objective. We don't have time for the next cash out, so we should be going for the next vault. And in general, my advice is to not try and just send cash outs, to try and play for the vaults, especially if you have a cash out that finishes first. It allows you the opportunity to get tempo and keep the vaults moving at the pace that you want and keep you in control of the cash outs. So with my team taking a bunch of damage, I set up an escape, but nobody seems to need to use it. So I drop back down in, start supporting my team against this fight. Still have that gateway there in case I need it, but I think we're just going to get involved here. So I push up close to the heavy thinking that I could avoid the grenade launcher, but hits me point blank and I get deleted. So another lesson to learn is a light. Here we're rotating the vault to the closest cash out to us. Again, we want to try and get this plugged before the other vault does so that we can have tempo of the game. Tempo means that you're controlling the pacing of the cash outs and the cash out rotation. So if you plug vault 1 first and then say that 30 seconds after you plug, vault 2 gets plugged, that means your cash out finishes 30 seconds before theirs does. And so you have time to move to the next vault before their cash out even completes, giving you the ability to stay ahead of the rotation of the entire game. Keep in mind as well, every time you open a vault, it's worth $1,000, and every plug that you get of a vault is worth 20% of the total. So you can make $3,000 for vaults 1 and 2, $4,000 for vaults 3 and 4, and $5,000 for vaults 5 and 6. It adds up really, really quick, and it's a lot of value added to your team just to play the vaults opening and the vaults plugging. So notice that I rotate all the way back once I see that they're coming in. That way I can totally disengage if something like that happens where I take a ton of damage. So staying down below, keeping myself safe, trying to rotate to a different angle and get a different look on where the enemy is. As long as you're not taking damage, you can kind of stay in the general area that you are, but I really recommend that as a light player, you should be disengaging the second that you take damage or the second that you start to fire any more than a couple of shots. Everyone uses weapon audio to understand where to position and where to look for enemies. And if you're a light player and you're just sitting there shooting from the same position for 30 seconds or 45 seconds, everybody knows where you are and you're at so much more danger than you would be if you keep rotating around. The best thing that you can do to keep yourself alive and keep yourself in better positions is to keep rotating, keep moving, keep finding different angles, always be on the move because it makes it much harder for the enemy to predict what you're going to do next. So now we only have 30 seconds left on our cash out. The odds are that we're really not going to get pushed again here. They're going to want to rotate towards C, the other one that's like a minute left. And this is why having tempo of the game is really good, because now we have more ability to roam and either go for C or play the next vault depending on how we want to handle this specific game. If Pink is a team that we're really afraid of to go to the final with because we think they're a really good team, we can push towards C here and focus on their cash out and try and take it from them to put them in a more risky position for the last cash outs. Now that our cash out's complete, we're just going to go ahead and rotate out. Our teammates kind of full sent on C, so we're kind of rotating to support them. Even though 5 spawn behind us, we're trying to get over to support them because they're saying that C is looking pretty good for us to be able to potentially steal. It ends up being somewhat pointless for us to be over here. It's just kind of a waste of time, and we kind of lose tempo of this game. We could have had 5 being opened right now. We could have had 5 being rotated to be plugged, but instead we were just playing for kind of like the highest risk play, and we didn't get the payoff for it. So we're in a not necessarily a bad spot. We're still looking good for the overall tournament, but we're not maximizing the value of our time in this game. And this team definitely makes us pay for it. So notice how you can have that one decision that seems so good in the moment because your adrenaline's pumping and you think you see something. And then now you've lost probably 50 seconds or so of the match game time. We could have had A plugged. If we would have plugged A, we would have been at 37,000. We would have been really looking solid for this tournament overall. But now if 6 gets plugged into A and it becomes a double, then it becomes what's known as a kill race between us and pink. And there's only 2 kills that separate the 2 of us from potentially being knocked out. So we're in a very risky position here if 6 gets plugged. So prioritizing 6, getting it pushed away and out of the way is really ideal. Or if we can get it plugged in ourselves, that means we're going to go up by 4k and it's no longer a kill race between us and pink. We will just be okay now for this tournament. So priority for us is obviously getting vault 6, getting control of it and plugging it into the cash out that's already running. Doing this is the best chance of success for us to go through to the next tournament. With me taking damage here, I throw the ball out so that the enemies would have to go out into the street, but my teammate's there to pick it up and take it the rest of the way. Notice how he uses the dash to super jump by dashing onto a jump pad to get the most distance possible. Teammate does a really good job there of rotating it over and getting it plugged in, and notice we jumped up to that 38,000, and now there's no way that pink team can get the amount of kills that they need to pass us in this game. So now pink is the one that's at risk. They have to get this cash out steal or they're going to get knocked out. That's just what it is for the pink team at this point in time. They would have to get about 9 total eliminations to pass us and be in first place. And you're not going to get 9 total eliminations in a basically 45-second period of time. So they have to go for the cash out steal. That is their biggest thing that they need to go and try and do. So for us at this point, because we don't want to go against pink in the final round, we don't care about stealing. We know that we're going to go through. We just care about defending and making sure that pink does not get the cash out. We don't care if it's orange. We don't care if it's purple. We just know that pink is a really good team and they'll be a tough team to beat in the final round. So we want to make sure that pink gets knocked out and we're in a good spot for our overall tournament. So now that we got pink wiped, there's no way that they can come back. We know we're in a good place now for this tournament. Once you've wiped the team that you're worried about going through, it's really up to you to decide whether or not you want to go against a specific team that's stealing. So my team thinks that, you know, purple team's probably the easier of the 2 teams to go against in the final round. But orange team is there to defend their own cash out, gets to stop, and is now going to be the team that we're going to face. But like I said earlier, we were really focused on making sure that pink didn't go through, because those are players that we know and are extremely good and would be tough to beat in the final round. So again, coming into the final round, you want to consider whether or not you need to make adjustments to your setup at all. If you've been successful in both the qualifying rounds, you likely don't need to change something. But also consider that in the final round, you can be more targeted with your decision making. As an example, if I were coming into a final round playing light and I saw that we were going against a full heavy stack, all 3 heavies, I would 100% put on glitch grenades, because I know that they're going to have mesh shields and all sorts of defenses that I need to be able to negate with the glitch grenade. It's got the highest value for me against a team of full heavies. So consider things like that when you're making your selections. The gateway here is just to give us a little bit of an edge on getting to this vault first, so that we can get set up and get it portaled out on our own terms. Again, even in the final round, you can call it tempo, but it's really just taking control of the game. If we're portaling the vault, we're deciding which cash out to go to, and that allows us to make the choices that are right for us, best for our team setup and our composition. So notice as I took damage there, the first thing I did was totally disengage. I needed to get away as fast as I could so that I could protect myself and then re-enter that fight. The enemy ends up chasing me and paying for it. Now, with that heavy going up the zip line, I could have potentially chased it to get the elimination, but I'm going to prioritize my teammates' revive first to make sure that we're all up, because I'd rather have a player advantage than to chase that elim and end up like the light player who chased me, getting myself eliminated And then now it's a 2v2 for my teammates. Notice how this team keeps poking us from different directions, but always by themselves. This makes it really easy for us as a team to team shoot them and get the easy eliminations. Always try and push into a full team with a full team. So now with just a single light player left, we're chasing him down. He gives me the jukes. I have no idea where he goes. Once he breaks line of sight, I totally lose him. My teammate takes the other lane that I didn't take, and I come in and I steal his kill. So notice that my medium broke away here while we were taking that fight against the 2v1. He knew that we were okay in finishing up the elim, and so getting it plugged allows us to get about 15 seconds on the cash out before they're respawned. That's a significant advantage for us because it reduces the amount of fights that we'll have to take before we get this cash out completed. So now that the team is spawned in, you want to watch for where they come from. It's usually on Vegas in this cash out, it's usually from the direction you see me looking at, the east side. So as you see, it comes up that zip line, so they're definitely coming from that east side. Applying some damage but letting them back out is okay. I don't want to put myself into a dangerous spot and get picked. Notice how I'm rotating around the windows but not dropping down and in. I want to stay up and out of the fight as best I can because I'm just focused on protecting the cash out. That's all I really care about. I don't need to go for elims. So now that my teammates have their full attention on this side, I know that I can come in from behind and get a nice flank on them from an angle they're not expecting. Rotating around, I'm just trying to look for the last player, and I barely see them here. I know that they're going to rotate back towards their teammates' trophies. So notice that as we're pushing for this final elim of the third person on the team, one of them ends up pointing right as we get the elimination. This is something I'd recommend that you all think about not doing in the final round. Taking the wipe is the better choice here. The full wipe will be 25 seconds for your entire team to respawn. Whereas in this case, this player respawning means that the player that we just eliminated has 30 more seconds before they can coin themselves. Look at the cash out time. There's no way that last player is going to be able to make it back in time because that one player coined. So now there's only 1 or 2 potential people that can push this cash out, and we're in a really good spot to defend it. So definitely think about that in the final round, because if they would have wiped, they would have all been coming back right now and had a chance to full dive this. But now that it's just a one single player, it makes it super easy for my team to handle. This is what's called being staggered or staggering. And you really want to try and avoid it as best you can. You never want to put yourself in a position where you're in a 1v3, because look at what happens. We can all just focus the single player down ourselves, and there's nothing that they can really do to defend themselves against it. So it's just, in a way, it's kind of a waste of time, and it doesn't help your team, especially in the final round. So again, with them being wiped, it allows us to be able to tempo the game here, go to the cash out that makes the most sense for us. And when I say makes the most sense for us, think about what your team composition is and where the cash outs are on the map. What locations they are and how to defend them, if it works the best for you and your team, or if it works better for the enemy team. Having the open cash out is really good for us because we have a lot of poke weapons where we can do damage from range. And it also makes them have to take the cash out from a totally exposed area, and they don't have a ton of defensive stuff they can use to protect themselves while they're stealing. So choosing the open cash out is better for our team composition than their team composition. Whereas, say that you have three heavies on your team, or even just three melee players or 3 short range players, whatever it is. In that case, you actually want to take it to like a cash out that's inside a building, close quarters, that you can defend. That is the right choice for your team composition in that specific moment. So at this point, we feel like we're pretty locked in for this final round. Now we're just kind of trolling a little bit, waiting for the team to respawn. They're going to respawn from one of 2 directions. It's either the west or the east, and in this case, it's coming from the west. So notice again, I'm just staying back, keeping myself by protection, keeping myself by a wall. Not doing anything too extensive. We have the game in our hands right now, and it's just all about playing safe, playing calm, and playing in control. Working through getting our eliminations and our picks makes it really easy for us to finish up this last fight. And now there's no chance for the enemy team to get back and take this cash out from us. They technically have like a full send dive if they have the movement modes to get themselves to the cash out, but it's going to be so close for them by the time they get there. So again, me and my teammates just kind of trolling to finish up the rest of this round, throwing goo grenades at each other, healing each other even when we don't need it, just we know that we have this one wrapped up and we're just letting the time kind of tick out. So again, they spawn from the same direction. And like I said, if they had a couple of movement modes, they could be like zip lining, jump padding over to the cash out, throwing a dome shield down, some goo grenades down, and they could have had a steal on this, but they just don't have the movement abilities to get it done. It allows us to finish up this tournament really, really well. There's still a lot that I need to learn on light. It's going to take me time to figure out all the different nuances to all the gadgets and things like that, but I'm committed to getting my 5k wins as light so I can have all 3 amethyst badges. As I go on this journey, I'll continue teaching you all the things that I learn as I go, and we can all grow and learn together. I fully believe that I will never ever know all of the things that exist in the finals, and that's part of why I love playing it so much. There's always something new to learn, always a different way to play the game, and always a different perspective you can take on how to win a different fight a different way. I hope this helps. And thank you all, as always. It means the world to me that y'all watch and engage. It's the coolest thing to see my dreams coming true in real time. And everybody that's here supporting me, watching, commenting, even subscribing, you're helping make that dream come true. And I am immensely grateful for your support.